Why is it that the closer you get to God, the harder the battle becomes? Why do the ones who long for holiness feel the fiercest storms inside? I don't understand myself anymore. I pray, I fast, I fight, and yet I fall again and again. There's a heaviness in my chest I can't explain, a fear, a shame. What if someone knew? What if God has had enough of me? But deep down something whispers the truth. This isn't just weakness. This is war. A war the Bible warned us about. A war not against flesh and blood, but against powers and principalities, against the forces that hate what God is building in us. And in this fight, you are not alone. A withered tree in a dry land, its roots cracked and reaching for water that is not there. It started quietly. No great sin, no loud rebellion, just a sense, a faint but persistent unease that the hero could not explain. Outwardly, everything seemed fine. Life followed its usual rhythm. People saw peace, strength, perhaps even joy. But deep within, something shifted. There was a tension in the soul, as if two voices whispered at once. The spirit testified, but the mind resisted. The heart felt the stirrings of a warning, a subtle nudge from God's Spirit. But the mind, eager to reason it away, cloaked it in excuses, distractions, and busyness. This was not an open turning from God, no dramatic fall. It was more dangerous. The slow, almost invisible sliding of the soul down a slope it did not realize was there. A gradual loosening of the grip on prayer, a dulling of hunger for God's word. The inner man felt it first, that spiritual pressure that no eye could see, no ear could hear. The Bible tells us, the inner man is where the battle begins, where the first tremors of spiritual danger are felt long before the cracks appear outwardly. The hero noticed the change only in restless nights, in prayers that felt empty, in a strange thirst that nothing seemed to quench. Seeking comfort, the soul reached not upward, but outward, to fleeting pleasures, small compromises that seemed harmless. And with each step, the distance grew, not a leap, but a drift, a slow, sorrowful slipping away from the spring of living water toward broken cisterns that could hold nothing, a stormy night sky where lightning reveals a narrow path through the darkness. The hero withdrew into himself as if trying to escape his own thoughts. The guilt was no longer a passing feeling. It weighed on him, heavy and cold, like a stone on his chest. Prayer felt like speaking into emptiness. The sweet nearness of God, once so real, seemed lost behind an impenetrable silence. When a man drifts from God, he seeks a substitute. And so the enemy came, subtle and persuasive, offering illusions, false comforts dressed as relief, small pleasures, hollow distractions, anything to quiet the restless soul. And for a time, they seemed to work, but only for a time. The flesh whispered, and the spirit was silent. The inner conflict deepened. The soul longed for light, but was too weary to seek it. The heart knew that these substitutes could never satisfy. But the pull of the flesh was strong, and the voice of the spirit seemed too faint to follow. Yet in this stillness, this terrible stillness, something began to stir. A thirst awoke, fierce and pure, the thirst for what is real, for the true, unshakable presence of God. In the darkness, a faint sense grew. He is near, still unseen, still unheard, but near. Like the first breath of dawn before the sun breaks the horizon. This was the crossroads of the soul. The enemy fought hardest here because this is where chains crack and fall. This is where the cry for mercy rises from the depths, where the storm begins to part, revealing the narrow path that leads back home. Out of the depths I cry to you, Lord. Lord, hear my voice. Let your ears be attentive to my cry for mercy. Psalm 130, 1-2. Dearest friends, let me pause for a moment. Please write in the comments, where are you listening from? Have you ever experienced something like this in your own life? That silent battle, that inner emptiness where only God could speak? How did the Lord reach out to you in those moments? And don't forget to subscribe, because ahead lies even more light, more truth, more revelations from God's Word. A sunrise over a field of new wheat, the first light breaking through the darkness. At last, the weight became too much to bear. The hero could no longer pretend, could no longer fight alone. In the quiet of the night where no one else could see, the heart broke open. Tears fell, not of despair, but of release. The prayer was simple, raw, without formality or eloquence. God, I can't do this. Help me. Forgive me. He could not climb out of the pit, but God came down into it, not because the hero was strong or worthy or good enough, but because the Lord is merciful, because the promise stands. A broken and contrite heart, O God, you will not despise. Psalm 51:17. God's presence, once faint and distant, now flooded the soul. Not in thunder, not in fire, but in a quiet cleansing, a light that filled the dark places, driving out the shadows. The chains of guilt began to break. The inner man felt washed, made new. Prayer returned, first a whisper, then a steady voice. The hunger for the word awakened. The heart, once cold and restless, felt the warmth of God's nearness. Fasting and prayer became no longer a duty, but a joy. Tools in the hands of a soul reborn. The connection to God was not merely restored, it was deepened. Now the hero knew it was never his strength that saved him. The victory belonged to the Lord. And so, the chapter closes with hope. The fall was not the end. It was the door to a new depth, a depth of grace, of faith, of love that only those who have been broken can know. Create in me a pure heart, O God, and renew a steadfast spirit within me. Psalm 51:10. If you are inside this battle, know this: you are not alone. This is the sign that you matter. The enemy attacks those in whom there is a calling. But God is mighty to restore even what seems dead. Don't stay in the shadows. Write, share, walk this path to the end in God's light. Your story is only beginning.